Hey guys, so Atreyu is back. I do hope this video finds you all in a most relaxed and calm state. Today I'm bringing to you another LCM topic, and it's because I've noticed that a lot of veteran lockers have either been taking their locks out or chopping them off. And unfortunately, these lockers have received, some of them have received quite the backlash as a result of this decision. So I wanted to bring this topic today to the Loc community so that we could discuss it. I will give you my thoughts first, and then after the video ends, please feel free to drop down below to the comment section and leave your perspective, your thoughts on this topic. Let's get started. So as is the case with most controversial topics, I can understand the arguments on both sides. However, there is usually something that allows me to choose one side over the other. So let me start with the opposing side. I can definitely understand how lockers could feel hurt, disappointed, abandoned, even by veteran lockers who cut off their locks. After all, you know, when a lot of these people first decided to start their lock journey, one of the first things they did was got on YouTube, and good for people who were already in the game and for people who have been in the game for a while. They looked for different sets of locks that they really loved, really enjoyed, and even desired. You know, a lot of people have what they call lock crushes. I don't know if guys really use that term, but yeah, you know, basically people who had locks that they wouldn't mind having on their own heads. You know, they just really like their locks, whether it was for the length, whether it was for the thickness, whether it was for the way they fell, whatever. You know, there are different reasons for different people. So there is this sort of connection. You know, I understand this as someone who definitely have veteran lockers that I look up to, who inspired me and who continue to inspire me, you know, for those that still are on their journey. I understand that connection is present, that connection is strong, that connection is real. And so when a person decides to take out their locks or cut their locks, you know, someone that you've looked up to, someone that you've admired, someone that you've wanted to be like in many ways, on the hair journey, it can be hurtful. You could feel like the person has betrayed the Loc community or even betrayed you, even though they may not even know you like that, you know what I'm saying? But I still don't think that that is a reason to, you know, throw shade their way. It's like you're almost forgetting about all the good that they did for you, you know? You're forgetting about how big of an inspiration they've been to you, especially in that first year when you didn't really know what was what and you were just kind of like a sponge absorbing every possible tip you could to make sure you had the best lock journey possible. I think a lot of people are quick to dismiss the fact that it could be real, that there comes a point where it's just time to let go of your locks. For me, I can say obviously I'm not at that point yet. You know, I'm only 2 years and 2 months into it, and I don't feel a need or desire to cut off my locks. But I think too many veteran lockers have reached that point, many of whom have already cut off their locks, for me to deny the reality of it. You know, the reality of its existence. It must be something there, like something real that's there, because so many veteran lockers have hit that point. And so just because I can't fathom it, just because I haven't experienced it, that doesn't mean that it's not real. I like to approach life with an open mind, and, you know, I like to say, hey, just because it's not my experience, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not an experience at all, or that it's not someone else's experience. And so I think that is what allows me to give more leniency to these veteran lockers who decide to end their journey. And you never know what could happen. I mean, none of us are getting any younger. I could get sick and, you know, maybe I have to have some sort of like brain surgery, or maybe I have to have chemotherapy or radiation, and that takes my hair out. You never know what could happen. I'm not someone who likes to say that, yeah, I will never ever cut off my locks, or I'm always gonna have my locks, because I'm not a psychic. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know the future. No one does. You never know what could happen, and I've learned that it's when you start acting like you know, or start planning your life out, to the minute, that life is like, I'm actually in control. This is how this is going to play out. So you just sit back and go for the ride. So, yeah, I never like to boast about, what I'm not going to do in terms of like my locks, because you never know what the future holds. I think a much more constructive approach to these veteran lockers and in their lock journeys is to just show your gratitude, and let them know how they've inspired you. There are seasons in life. I'm sure you've heard that saying, that expression. Is very cliche at this point, but there's seasons, there's a time and a place for everything. That's another cliche. And those things are true. And who knows if there will come a season where it's time for me to end my lock journey. I don't know. At this point, I hope it doesn't, because I really like my locks, but you never know. And so I think it's the best way to approach, or how should I put it? I think the best way to send off a veteran locker who is either about to end their journey or who has ended their journey is just to let them know how much their journey has inspired you, and how much you admire them, and just express your gratitude to them for all that they've done. You don't just forget, how wonderful they've been to you just because they're ending their journey. So, to me, that's very shallow. Now, I can understand people, if you followed a person because they had lock content on their channel, lock videos and updates and all that stuff, and they chop off their locks, then yeah, I can understand unsubscribing to them because you were there for that content, right? And obviously they're no longer going to be making that content. But if you were there and you actually really enjoyed the person, you really enjoyed the things that they had to say, even if it wasn't about locks, but you're like, I'm going to be spiteful, I'm going to stick it to them, and I'm going to unsubscribe to them just for that reason, then I think that that's kind of childish and unfair. And I don't think that you should have ever been claiming to be a part of the Loc family, because family members don't abandon family for bogus reasons like that. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be better than that. I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to seeing a person for who they are, like their essence. Seeing them for who they are at the core. Like I've said so many times before, we're more than our hair, It's the essence of who we are. I think that's truly where the connection and bond is formed. And so when a person cuts off their locks, if you've really connected with them, then it doesn't matter if they have those locks or not. They're still that same person. They're still that same locker who inspired you. They're still that same person who demonstrated patience and persistence. They're still that same person. So let's not judge our veteran lockers who have ended their lock journeys, but instead let's show gratitude and appreciation for their contribution to the Loc community, and for just everything that they've meant to us. And I think that's the classy way to approach it. So feel free to leave your comments, your thoughts in the comment section below. I am very curious to hear how you feel about this topic. And please learn to love unconditionally, because loving with conditions conditions the heart to not really love at all. Sebs is out. And one more question that I am going to pose to you. Who are you on this Loc journey for? Like really, who are you on this Loc journey for? Are you on this Loc journey for that veteran locker who inspired you or who you look up to? Or are you on this Loc journey for yourself because you want to see the potential of your hair and your form? You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't matter what anybody else is doing. It shouldn't bother you to the core like that, because you're not on this journey for anyone else. Yes, we're a community, and yes, we are all on our separate journeys together, but we're still all on our individual journeys. So whenever you start feeling spiteful against a veteran locker who has decided to cut his or her locks off, then ask yourself that question. Who are you on this lock journey for?